Chappell Roan's fan base is infuriated with her right now because in a recent interview with The Guardian, she said she is not going to be endorsing Kamala Harris for president this election cycle. Now, this is being cherry-picked. It's being taken out of context, I think, and we might need to come to Chappell Roan's defense over this. Obviously, no one should be making their voting decisions based on the endorsement of any pop star or entertainer, but unfortunately, that is just the world we live in. This is par for the course for an interview with a pop star who knows not what she is talking about. But
I mean, if they do know what they're talking about, you shouldn't take their advice.
Still, yeah, either way.
I'm gonna not go off of the screenshot that went viral, and I'm just gonna go into the full context from the interview. They said, even though Kamala Harris used her phenomenon and seemingly copied the design of Chappell Roan's baseball cap merch, Roan has not endorsed Kamala. And in June, while dressed as Lady Liberty, Chappell Roan told her crowd at the Governor's Ball Festival in New York that she had declined an invitation to perform at the White House for a Pride event, saying, "We want liberty, justice, and freedom for all. When you do that, that's when I'll come." And she basically implied they were trying to make her into a gay token. And she didn't want to go along with it because she's unhappy with the Biden administration's actions in Gaza.
What I love about that whole statement, which unfortunately it gets breezed past because it's a platitude, is that there is no answer to that question that's objective. Because if not liberty and justice for all now, when everyone is equal under the law, then it's just Marxist propaganda, because we understand that to them, there is no end but the revolution.
Of course.
So
And
there's no end point where they're like, okay, we've officially gotten there.
Yeah.
No, all that happens is then the next cause is formulated, and the next cause is formulated, which is why I think I have such an aversion to the political discourse regarding the use of weasel words, as I call them, or, just word vomit, which is what most of it is. It's platitudes and word vomit. And she's doing the same thing, even if I agree with her sentiment in this case.
Yeah, I wanted to draw your attention to this term pink washing, because that's what she accused the White House of doing to her. I had not heard this term before, but pink washing refers to marketing or political strategy where a corporation, government, or individual promotes their support of LGBT or uses LGBT-related labels to appear progressive, modern, and tolerant, while simultaneously ignoring or downplaying harmful practices or policies toward other communities or individuals. This tactic is often used to deflect attention from criticism or concern related to issues such as human rights violations, occupation, or oppression.
It's the government version of what is known as rainbow capitalism.
Right.
Yes.
So that's what she accused them of doing to her. But this is her full quote. "I have so many issues with our government in every way. There are so many things that I would want to change, so I don't feel pressured to endorse someone. There's problems on both sides. I encourage people to use your critical thinking skills, use your vote small, vote for what's going on in your city. The change Chappell Roan wants to see in the U.S. this election year," she says, is, quote, "trans rights. They cannot have cis people making decisions for trans people, period." So we know what matters the most to Chappell Roan, and it's trans rights. I don't know
Palestine.
how that plays into this election, but her fans had some thoughts. A lot of gay Twitter blew up over her take.
They went crazy.
Even though she basically said she was going to vote for Kamala anyway.
Which they left out of all of the posts.
They hated the both sides so much. I'm sorry, you're going to probably read about that.
Yeah.
They hated both sides.
Yes. Chappell Roan is old enough to have been an adult during Trump's first term and old enough to not be catastrophically ignorant of what is at stake. She's either a fool or a closet Republican.
Oh.
Another one said, "The both sides are evil argument is so effing stupid because one side straight up brags and tells you they want to take away your rights and thinks a large portion of the population aren't even human." Another said, "One side wants to criminalize drag fits you throw on every show, and the other wants to federally ensure you can't be discriminated against. So let's think for a second." Another one said, "Chappell Roan is an embarrassment to lesbians." You can't borrow from drag aesthetics and embrace your sexuality and then pretend the party that would criminalize our happiness is the same as the one who protects it. When they're saying criminalize our happiness, they're saying they would regulate children being present at drag shows which are sexually explicit.
It's the same way that it's the same way they conflate book bans with a federally funded school not putting a book in their public library
that has actual pornography in it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Again, the problem is I don't even know. And here's the thing: back in the day, I would say they're operating in bad faith, and I think that a lot of them are. I think a lot of them have just been propagandized so thoroughly that they've never actually looked at the other side of the aisle with any sort of honest, with any sort of honest intentions, so they can't actually have a discussion about what the other side actually wants. And I think both sides are guilty of this to an extent, but I think the left is far worse with that because they're never exposed to right-leaning ideas.
It's like Haley Williams said, you can vote your way out of a dictatorship. Did you know that?
I bet. Did you know that?
Wait, that's a real quote?
So Haley Williams, we talked about her on Monday. She denounced Donald Trump and Project 2025.
Dumb stuff, yeah.
And she said, do you want to live in a dictatorship? Well, go out and vote.
Oh yeah, at the end of it.
What I hate about this is you're kind of criminalizing the ability for somebody to be interesting, for the idea that somebody could be more than just the checklist of traits that fall along party lines that are now attached seemingly to identity, meaning that to me, what is more interesting than anything is when somebody may appear a certain way, but is more than that, which is true of pretty much everyone. Right? Like you're more than just your physical traits. You're more than just the persona that people that see out there. It's kind of like what they're doing with like Tim Walz. They're like, look, he hunts, but he's also, but he also cares about this issue and that issue, which is actually true of most people. But what they don't understand is that when it comes to the people who are heavily politically active on the left, especially with celebrities, you are supposed to rigidly fall in line with a certain set of beliefs. And one of the reasons I think they organize better and they win more is because they're not allowed to disagree, whereas everyone on the right just fights about everything all the time. Constantly.
Yeah, they're very effective at public shaming and consensus building.
The right is constantly distracted because they actually want to debate with each other about what is the right answer to something. But celebrities especially don't really care about that. They're more in line with whatever the surface level issues of the time are because it's beneficial to their wallets.
Whatever trans rights means. What they're saying to Chappell Roan, who is already an outspoken radical leftist, is you're a lesbian, therefore you cannot have a dissenting opinion. You have to fall in line.
Exactly. Yeah.
Another one of her fans said, "Oh, Chappell, I love you, but I would love to know what problems Kamala's side has that somehow makes you question voting between her and someone who is a homophobic, racist, sexist grifter and a 34-time convicted felon, just a few things to name."
Their brains are
and another one said, "Has anyone told Chappell Roan that Republicans want to ban drag?"
Again, not a fair understanding of the argument.
Yeah.
I so wish every time that Republicans were who the left says they are.
Oh yeah,
I would be so down with that dictatorship.
Yeah.
Like, we're banning drag, we're banning your happiness. We're banning books. We're burning books. Like, I would love that, but that's not what they are.
Most of this is why all of it's futile anyways. There are multiple clips of Trump saying, like, I'm not going to sign a federal abortion ban. That's not going to happen. And they're like, and then Jennifer Lawrence is like, abortion is literally on the ballot. I'm like,
yes.
I don't think you know what that word means.
Jennifer Lawrence endorsed Kamala Harris for president, saying she's an amazing candidate, and I know she will do whatever she can to protect reproductive rights.
What is it that she can do? I mean, other than
whatever she can, Brian. She'll do whatever.
The actual question is why? Like, what would she be able to do? She can't sign. Can she sign an executive order that would just go through to the Supreme Court and get? So pack the courts.
Or they wear shirts that say abort the Supreme Court. They want to get rid of the Supreme Court.
Well, they also want to get rid of the Electoral College. get rid of the Electoral College and pack the Supreme Court for democracy. But all of this kind of goes back to, like, we're getting off course and we're getting too much into the politics of it all. What's sad is you have a celebrity who's genuinely at least a bit interesting, seems to be dynamic in more ways than one. She's thought through her positions. She gives you a rational understanding of what her beliefs are, how she feels about things, and what she's yelled at for is not conforming. 110% to the letter of what her side tells her she has to, all based on the idea that she agrees with you on some things and kind of dresses in a way that you would approve of.
Yeah, but in a way, she has courted that audience.
Exactly.
Like,
No, she
that's
has.
the fan base that she has been trying to attract for years.
Yep.
By performing in drag outfits and constantly talking about LGBT issues.
She said the stuff about voting for Kamala in the interview, in the Guardian interview, right? So that was just cherry picked and left out of these statements.
Well, I think like that's not what I read explicitly, but I thought implicitly what she's saying is use your vote. So she is intending to vote for Kamala. She's just not going to issue a public endorsement telling other people to do so, which is a much different thing.
And she did clarify her stance. She was forced to clarify. Did you watch the video?
No.
Of her clarifying? I have that here.
To use critical thinking skills,
That's her.
learn about what they're voting for, learn about who they're voting for, and ask questions. And it's being completely taken out of context, per usual. There is nuance to what I say in interviews. And I think it's important that people use critical thinking. I think it's important for me to question authority and question world leaders.
Based?
Question myself, question my algorithm, question if some
Who is
person
this
that
woman?
tweeted something about someone else is even true. It's important to question because that's how I think we move forward. This is my third election in voting.
What she doesn't understand is that the side in which she identifies with doesn't permit questioning.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Ever.
she's going to learn that.
No, it's funny because it's like that meme on Twitter where somebody says something and they're like, they almost get it.
You're so close,
You're
Chappell.
so close. So do you want to keep listening?
I don't know what else she
And the world
had to
is
say.
changing so rapidly, and I want to be part of the generation that changes things for good
Millennials are like, what are we, chopped liver?
because we need it. If you come to my shows, if you read my full interviews, if you literally know anything about me and for what I stand for, you know that this is not lip service, this is not virtue signaling, that my actions have always paved the way for my project and the people who really know me. Actions speak louder than words, and actions speak louder than an endorsement.
She doesn't do any critical thinking, I'm guessing, because otherwise she wouldn't think of the way she thinks that they're going to end trans rights. Or
Just-
take away rights.
This from a PR perspective was a lose-lose situation because if you don't endorse Kamala, your fans are going to come after you. But if you do endorse Kamala, some of your other fans are going to come after you because they have watermelon emojis in bio.
You can't win.
And you aren't supporting Palestinians sufficiently by endorsing Kamala. So you would piss people off no matter what you do. And maybe she will learn over time that being politically outspoken is just not a good career move. And it's also not a good move personally because she's so bad at handling backlash online.
It's actually not possible for her because her image requires it.
She's kind of put herself into this corner now.
What made her popular is inextricably linked to politics, meaning her drag-like persona.
She's also still oversharing about her personal life. In the same interview, she revealed that she has been diagnosed with severe depression and is in therapy.
Oh.
Roan says her symptoms include brain fog, forgetfulness, and poor focus, as well as, quote, a very lackluster viewpoint. She said, I think it's because my whole life has changed. Everything that I really love to do now comes with baggage. If I want to go thrifting, I have to book security and prepare myself that this is not going to be normal. Going to the park, Pilates, yoga. How do I do this in a safe way where I'm not going to be stalked and harassed? She also said, I'm very turned off by the celebrity of it all. Some girls have been in this so long that they're used to that, but I'm not that girl. I'm not going to be a sweetie pie to a man who's telling me to shut the F up. That was in regard to her red carpet appearance at the VMAs. She was yelling at the paparazzi because they were being mean to her. So
I at least find her more interesting than your average celebrity.
yeah, which is, there's something to be said for that.
Yes, there is. Like I said the other day, you know what the best thing you can do is treat celebrities as if they're mildly interesting zoo animals. You just look at them and you're like, huh, it's kind of interesting.
But if you don't want your fame to come with baggage, as she said, not just safety related concerns, but also people making personal attacks online, maybe the move would be to stay silent on political issues.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.